The ominous arrival of the galaxy was quiet that day, the stars shining calmly as if nothing could disturb their peace. On the distant planet of Velara, life went on as usual. Merchants trading in busy markets, children laughing in the streets, and ships flying across the skies, but far beyond the outer rim, a shadow moved, massive and dark, unseen by the sensors of nearby worlds. The USS Blackstar had entered the war, its arrival silent yet terrifying. Commander Vera of the Velara Defense Fleet was monitoring the sensors when a strange energy spike appeared on her screen. She leaned closer, frowning. This is not normal," she muttered. Her voice trembling slightly. The readings were enormous, far beyond anything she had ever seen, and they were moving toward Velara at incredible speed. She called for an emergency council, alerting the planet's leaders, but even they could not comprehend the magnitude of what was coming. In the distance, the Blackstar glided through the void of space, its dark hull reflecting distant stars, no ordinary warship. It was a marvel of destructive technology, built to dominate entire fleets and consume whole planets if necessary. Its engines pulsed with a deep red glow, and the energy readings it emitted made nearby systems flicker and fail. Even the most advanced sensors struggled to track it, and rumors of its legendary power spread quickly across the galaxy. On Velara, civilians felt an uneasy chill as alarms began to sound, warning them of an unknown threat approaching. Ships were scrambled, and fighter pilots prepared for what they hoped would be a manageable threat. But deep down, everyone sensed something far worse than any battle they had fought before. Families clutched each other, praying silently, while leaders debated strategies, their voices tight with fear. Inside the Blackstar, Captain Arkin observed the approaching planet through massive viewports. His eyes were cold, and his mind was focused only on one goal: the complete destruction of any opposition. He gave silent orders to the crew, who moved with precision, their movements almost robotic. Every weapon system was prepared, every cannon primed, and the ship hummed with dangerous energy. Back on Velara, Commander Vera watched as the first warning blips of the Blackstar's arrival appeared. "It's huge. It's coming too fast," she said, her hands shaking slightly over the controls. Her officers tried to reassure her, but even they knew words could not change the terrifying reality. The Blackstar was here, and nothing in the galaxy could prepare them for the fire it would bring. As the warship drew closer, the atmosphere of Velara changed. A strange heat forming in the skies, even from millions of miles away. Energy waves from the ship began to disrupt the planet's weather systems. Storms appeared out of nowhere, lightning crackling across the sky, and the seas churned violently. People on the surface could see dark shadows stretching across the horizon, though they did not know the source. Meanwhile, intelligence officers on nearby star systems tried to warn Velara, sending urgent messages, but communication lines faltered, their signals drowned out by the enormous energy waves. Panic spread quickly as messages of destruction reached only partially, creating confusion and fear. Every attempt to understand the Blackstar's mission failed, leaving only one certainty: it was coming to war. Inside the Blackstar, Captain Arkin observed everything calmly, his voice echoing in the command deck. "Prepare the first wave," he ordered, and the ship's massive cannons began to glow with deadly energy. Fighter drones launched from the hangars, forming precise formations around the main ship. The hum of engines, the flicker of weapons, and the ominous glow of the Blackstar filled the void, creating a terrifying sight for anyone who might witness it. On Velara, the first reports of destruction reached the leaders. Ships being destroyed before they even reached the Blackstar. Commander Vera gritted her teeth, refusing to give in to fear, but deep down she knew the odds were against them. Her eyes scanned the main view screen as she tried to make sense of the firestorm approaching. Every second, the Blackstar moved closer, its presence like a dark cloud swallowing the stars. Citizens on Velara watched the sky, unable to comprehend the scale of the threat. Some ran to shelters, while others stood frozen. Staring at the distant glow of the warship, rumors spread quickly. Stories of a ship that could destroy entire planets in minutes. Even children whispered in fear, their innocence shattered by the looming shadow above. As the Blackstar approached the edge of the Velara system, the tension reached its peak. Every ship, every fighter, every defense system prepared for what seemed like the impossible. The galaxy had never seen a warship like this before, and its first move would decide the fate of Velara. Commander Vera knew one thing for sure: once the Blackstar struck, nothing would ever be the same. And as the first warning lights of the planet cities flickered and alarms blared across Velara, the USS Blackstar glided silently. Its massive shadow stretching across the stars, the ominous arrival had begun, and the flames it would bring were about to consume everything in its wake. The first strike, the calm of space shattered as the USS Blackstar unleashed its first attack. From orbit above Velara, massive beams of red energy streaked across the skies, striking cities and military bases with deadly precision. Explosions lit up the planet's surface, and clouds of smoke rose like dark mountains. The once bustling capital was now a scene of chaos and panic. Commander Vera gritted her teeth, watching the destruction on her main screen. Brace for impact. All defensive units, engage, she ordered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing inside. Fighter ships scrambled into formation, but the Blackstar moved faster than any defense system could track. Its weapons fired in rapid succession, obliterating everything in their path. Civilians ran through the streets, shouting for their families. Sirens blared from every corner of Velara as buildings collapsed and fire spread across the cities. In the skies, small defense drones tried to intercept the Blackstar's energy blasts, but they were no match for its overwhelming power. Each shot vaporizing drones instantly on the command deck of the Blackstar. Captain Arkin observed the destruction calmly. Maintain pressure. Let none escape, he commanded, his eyes cold as steel. The ship's cannons glowed brighter, and more fighter drones launched to intercept any resistance. Every strike was calculated, precise and devastating. Back on Velara, Commander Vera refused to give up, divert all remaining energy to the planetary shields. Evacuate civilians where possible, she shouted. Engineers worked frantically, rerouting power and activating emergency protocols. But the shields barely held against the Blackstar's first assault, flickering under the massive energy output amid the chaos. A small group of pilots led by Lieutenant Ron took off from the defense base. Their mission was simple, but dangerous: engage the Blackstar long enough for civilians to escape. Their ships darted through fire and debris, narrowly avoiding energy blasts. Each pilot knew the odds were against them, but courage drove them forward. The first strike destroyed major military installations, leaving the planet vulnerable. Smoke and fire covered the cities, and the screams of civilians echoed across the planet. Even distant colonies felt the shockwaves of the attack. Galactic intelligence agencies monitored the Blackstar's assault. Stunned by its efficiency and destruction, Lieutenant Rand's squadron fired missiles at the warship. Hoping to slow it down, explosions erupted around the Blackstar, but they barely left a mark on its dark hull. The pilots realized quickly that conventional weapons were useless against this monster. Fear mixed with determination as they tried to survive while protecting the fleeing civilians. On the planet's surface, families gathered in shelters, listening to distant explosions. Children cried as their homes burned, and parents prayed for safety. Valara had never faced such a threat, and hope seemed to flicker like a dying star. But even in the darkness, people refused to surrender completely. Commander Vera contacted the Planetary Council, urging calm and coordination, focus on saving lives. Fight what you can, but prioritize evacuation, she instructed. Ships that could still fly carried civilians to nearby planets. Every second counted, and every loss weighed heavily on those who remained. The Blackstar hovered above, almost like a shadow over the entire world. Its weapons glowed, and the hum of its engines resonated through space. Captain Arkin watched the panic unfold below, unmoved, calculating his next strike. The planet's defenses were crumbling, and nothing seemed able to stop him. Lieutenant Ron's squadron made a final desperate attack, flying straight into the path of the Blackstar's energy beams. Explosions tore through space and ships were lost one by one. But their bravery allowed some civilians to escape, creating a small glimmer of hope. It was not victory, but it was survival, and in this war, survival was everything. As the Blackstar continued its destructive path, Valara burned under its fiery wrath. The first strike had ended, but the planet was scarred and its people terrified. Commander Vera looked at the remaining ships and the fleeing civilians. She knew the Blackstar would strike again, and when it did, the cost could be even higher. The galaxy had witnessed the Blackstar's power for the first time. No one doubted its ability to consume everything in its path. And far above Valara, the warship glided silently, waiting for the next moment to unleash terror. The first strike had begun, but the true battle was only starting. The Resistance Emerges Vila was in ruins after the Blackstar's first strike. Smoke covered the skies, fires raged across cities, and the cries of the wounded echoed through the streets. Commander Vera stood on the command deck, staring at the devastation, her hands gripping the rail tightly. She knew the planet could not survive another attack like this, and yet she refused to give up in the midst of chaos. A small group of pilots and engineers gathered in a hidden hangar. Lieutenant Ran, still shaken from the first strike, addressed the team. "We may be small, but we are not powerless," he said, his voice firm. "We need to find a way to fight back before the Blackstar destroys everything." The team studied the Blackstar's attacks, analyzing its weapons, its movement, and its patterns. They discovered something unusual a brief moment after firing when the shield seemed to weaken. It was a small window, almost impossible to exploit, but it was hope. If they could strike during that moment, they might have a chance to damage the ship. Engineers worked quickly to modify the remaining ships. Equipping them with experimental weapons, Ran trained the pilots, explaining the precise timing needed for the attack. Every pilot knew the risk one mistake would mean death. But courage burned in their hearts, stronger than fear, and determination gave them strength. Meanwhile, on Valara, civilians tried to survive, taking shelter wherever they could. Families shared food and water, helping each other in the chaos. Even in the face of destruction, people whispered stories of bravery. They spoke of the pilots who risked everything to give them a chance to live. Commander Vera contacted nearby star systems, pleading for reinforcements. Some ships responded, small fleets that had survived previous battles. Though limited in number, their arrival gave the people of Valara hope. Even the smallest glimmer of hope mattered against the overwhelming power of the Blackstar. Lieutenant Ran led the first reconnaissance mission. Flying close to the Blackstar under heavy fire, the ship's cannons tracked them. But they dodged skillfully, using speed and strategy. They observed the warship's patterns, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Each second in the presence of the Blackstar felt like an eternity. But they refused to retreat. Back on the Blackstar, Captain Arkin sensed a change, a spark of resistance in the galaxy. He frowned, not used to being challenged, and ordered his crew to heighten vigilance. The massive warship glided through space, ready to crush any opposition, but for the first time, someone was daring to fight back. And that thought intrigued him. On Velara, the Resistance prepared for the first real attack. Experimental weapons were loaded, pilots took their positions, and engineers monitored energy readings. Commander Vera gave one final instruction: do what you must. Strike fast, strike smart, and protect our people, she said. Her voice steady despite the fear. The pilots launched from the hidden hangar, small ships darting through the smoke-filled skies. The Blackstar's sensors picked them up immediately. Energy beams firing in their direction, explosions rocked the air. Debris flew across the horizon, and yet, the Resistance pushed forward, each pilot focused, timing their moves to exploit the Blackstar's brief moments of vulnerability. As the Resistance struck, even a small hit on the Blackstar sent tremors through the ship. Captain Arkin watched, surprised but not alarmed, his mind calculating the next steps. The pilots retreated, regrouped, and prepared for another strike. Every attack, no matter how small, taught them something new on the planet below. Civilians watched the skirmishes in the skies. Though terrified, they cheered for the brave pilots who dared to challenge the impossible. Stories of heroism spread quickly, igniting hope across Velara. It was not victory yet, but the Resistance had begun, and the galaxy would remember their courage. The Blackstar continued its approach, but now the Resistance had a plan. Each strike, each maneuver, and each risk brought them closer to understanding how to fight the warship. Commander Vera and Lieutenant Ron knew the real battle was coming, but for the first time, they believed they could survive, and maybe, just maybe, they could win. The shadows of the warship loomed over Velara, its weapons still deadly, its power overwhelming, yet, in the hearts of a small group of fighters and the people of the planet, a spark of defiance burned brightly. The Resistance had emerged, and the Blackstar would soon learn that even the strongest ship could face opposition. Clash of Titans. The Blackstar loomed above Velara like a dark god of war. Its massive shadow covered cities, and its engines pulsed with deadly energy. The Resistance fleet emerged from hidden hangars. Small but determined, Lieutenant Ron led the charge, every pilot aware that one mistake could mean instant death. Energy beams streaked across space as the first clash began. The Blackstar's weapons fired relentlessly, cutting through the Resistance ships. Explosions lit the void. Smoke and debris floating in the airless vacuum. Pilots dodged and weaved, their ships twisting through impossible angles, their hearts racing. Commander Vera coordinated the defense from Velara's command deck. Target the weak points. Watch the shields, she shouted, her voice firm with urgency. Engineers relayed data to the pilots, guiding them to the brief moments when the Blackstar's defenses faltered. Every maneuver required perfect timing. Every shot could be the difference between life and death. Lieutenant Ron's squadron dove together, launching experimental missiles. The missiles struck the Blackstar's hull, creating sparks and small eruptions. Though the ship barely slowed, the Resistance had proof that it could be harmed. Hope surged through the hearts of the pilots, pushing them to fight harder. The Blackstar retaliated with deadly precision, its energy beams slicing through the fleet. Ships exploded in bright flashes, pilots screaming as they were thrown into space, yet the Resistance pressed on. Each attack learning from the last, strategy and courage combined, giving them small victories in the shadow of overwhelming power. Captain Arkin watched from the bridge of the Blackstar, his eyes narrowing. This Resistance is foolish, but persistent. he said calmly. He commanded more drones to attack, forming a protective wall around the warship. The small fleet of resistance fighters weaved through the barrage, exploiting every gap on the surface of Velara. Citizens watched the battle unfold in the skies. Though terrified, they cheered for the brave pilots, their hope refusing to die. Even children pointed at the streaking ships and glowing beams. Stories of heroism spread quickly across the planet, inspiring even the youngest hearts. The Resistance discovered another flaw, a vulnerability near the Blackstar's energy core. Lieutenant Ron led a daring squadron directly toward it. Weaving through the ship's deadly fire, explosions erupted around them, debris flying in all directions. For a moment, it seemed impossible to survive, but their determination kept them moving. Commander Vera coordinated from the command deck, giving precise instructions: hold steady, focus on the core, do not give up. She yelled. Pilots followed her guidance, timing their attacks perfectly. The Blackstar shook under the small but concentrated strikes, sparks flying from its hull. Captain Arkin finally recognized the threat, his eyes widening slightly. For the first time, the Blackstar was being challenged, and the crew worked harder to defend it. Fighter drones swarmed the attacking ships, energy beams cutting through the void. But the Resistance continued, refusing to retreat. Each pilot risking everything. The battle reached a crescendo, missiles and lasers colliding with the warship. The Blackstar's shields flickered, energy sparking across its massive hull. The Resistance fought with everything they had, their courage defying the impossible odds, even in the darkest moment. They found strength in hope and unity. Finally, a direct hit struck the Blackstar's weak point, a small explosion echoing through space. The warship shuddered, its engines faltering briefly, sending shockwaves through the fleet. Lieutenant Rand's squadron dove back, regrouping after the daring strike. They had proven that the Blackstar was not invincible, and their victory, though small, was monumental on Velara. People cheered and cried at the news. The planet was far from safe, but hope had returned. Commander Vera knew the real battle was still ahead, but for the first time, they had a plan and the courage to face the Blackstar again. Above the planet, the USS Blackstar hovered. Slightly damaged but still deadly, Captain Arkin stared at the small fleet, his expression unreadable. The clash had begun, and the galaxy would remember this battle. The Titans had collided, and the next move would decide the fate of Velara. The final decision. Vela lay in ruins, smoke rising from the cities, fires burning across the land. The Blackstar hovered above, its dark silhouette dominating the skies, its massive weapons still charged, ready to strike. But the Resistance had survived, and hope burned in their hearts. Commander Vera stood on the command deck, her eyes scanning the battlefield. "We've learned its weakness," she said firmly to Lieutenant Ron. He nodded, determination in his eyes. "This is our chance to end this nightmare," he replied. The small fleet of pilots prepared for the final attack, experimental missiles loaded, shields boosted and engines humming. Every pilot knew the risk. One wrong move would mean total annihilation. Captain Arkin watched from the Blackstar's bridge. Sensing the change, the Resistance was bold, almost reckless.